You're listening to the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute, a podcast where we discuss both the hobby and business sides of collecting. I'm your host, Mike Sommer, and I want to help you buy, sell, and trade your way into a collection you'll love. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another episode. Today, I want to ask you a question. Do you enjoy collecting cards? No, really. If the whole card industry went away, do you think your life would be better or worse? I think if you really stop and think about it, an honest answer for some of you would be yes. I'd be better off if it all went away. And for others, you can't fathom a life without cards. Regardless of what your answer was to that question, I want to challenge you to think through why you answered what you did. We'll dig in a bit deeper after this quick break. StarStock is a new trading card marketplace which is preparing to go live in April. Their goal is to be a faster and cheaper solution to sell cards, and they're looking for sellers who want to be some of the first to have their cards available for sale at launch. I'm going to be testing the platform with my own submission. They're offering a 5% sales commission with no other submission or processing fees. You send in your cards and they do all the work. Cards are insured and stored in a vault, and you can have your cards shipped to you at any time. You'll be able to buy, store, or flip cards at the push of a button. If you're interested in learning more about getting involved as a seller and getting your cards onto the site for launch, contact Mike Kuchera via email at mike@starstock.com. They're looking for sellers who have rookie and prospect cards of current players for the major sports. For more details, contact Mike Kuchera at mike@starstock.com or go to www.starstock.com.
Hi, this is Scott Spezio, and you're listening to the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute.
The card industry is the strongest it's been in years. Manufacturers continue to have increasing sales, new hobby shops are popping up, attendance at the National continues to climb, and both new and returning collectors are adding to the ranks of folks who are active in the hobby community. Some seem to embrace this collecting resurgence that we've seen, but others seem to view the hobby through a negative lens. And that's who I want to speak to today. The collector who just can't help but look at the current state of the hobby in a negative light. The studies have shown that constant negativity damages your relationships and the moods of those you interact with, but it also hurts your mental and physical health through elevated stress levels. There's a lot of things in life that can be a challenge to deal with, and they aren't always going to go according to plan. But in this scenario, we're talking about a hobby. It's a pastime which is supposed to relax us and give us an escape from the day-to-day stresses of life. Yet for some collectors, they bring their bad mood and their pessimistic perspective into a hobby. And if this is you, I'm curious to know why you continue to collect. Does it bring you joy? Or does it only add to your frustration and stress? Have you ever found yourself wondering that same thing? If you find yourself on the side of stress, anxiety, and frustration, it may be time to quit. Really, it's okay. You can walk away. Why waste your money on something that you are no longer enjoying? Why engage with a community that causes frustration and anger? Why spend your time creating more negativity when there's things that you could be doing that actually bring you joy? There's an often quoted Bible verse that says, "There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." And that means sometimes that season passes and it's time to move on. So why not just quit? But Mike, I can't quit. What would I do with my time? I've already got so much of who I am invested in this hobby. If I walked away, I'd miss it. It's really just a few things that bother me. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe you don't need to quit the entire hobby. Maybe you just need to quit certain things. Maybe you just need to quit collecting a certain way. Move from being a set collector to a team collector. Stop chasing autos and focus on a team. Or just because you've always collected one way, it doesn't mean you'll always have to collect that way. Find a new angle which brings back the joy and excitement that you felt when you were just getting started. Change is okay. In fact, it's even good for you. Try something new. Get that passion back. Maybe you just need to quit following a certain account. Life's too short to willingly put yourself through misery, especially if that misery comes via a social media account of an internet stranger that you've never even met. You may not need to quit the hobby, just quit some of the people in the hobby that get you all worked up. The unfollow and block buttons can be your friend, and for whatever reason, some unhappy people make it their mission to make others feel as awful as they do. Don't allow that to happen. Don't give them the mental real estate necessary to alter your mood. Unfriend, unfollow, block if necessary, and just move on. Well, maybe you just need to quit spending so much time and money on cards, especially if that's adding stress to your finances or other relationships. Find ways to set a budget and generate additional income so it can become a self-sustaining hobby. Even good things done in excess can be bad for you, and this hobby is no different. If you find yourself in a situation where the time or the money you're spending on cards is hurting your finances or your relationships, it's time for a change. Or maybe you need to quit thinking of yourself as the hobby gatekeeper whose role it is to correct everyone else's incorrect opinions. It's a big world out there, and there's a lot of people in it, and many of them will make mistakes, and many of them will have opinions that aren't necessarily based on fact. Well, thank goodness I'm not required to correct them or convince them that they're wrong. That's not my job. And guess what? It's not yours either. I do what I can to educate, to share knowledge, to share information, and to point people to resources that can help them enjoy the hobby more. Stop trying to change things that you have no control over. It makes life much more enjoyable. So my challenge to you is this. Think about why you collect. Think about what you like about the hobby and what drains your enthusiasm. And then decide what you're going to quit so that you can enjoy this great hobby more. Let me know what you decided by reaching out on Twitter at TheMikeSummer or sending an email to WaxPackHero@gmail.com. I'd be happy to chat to help you think through the ways that you can make your collecting experience a better one. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on what you thought about this show. You can leave a rating and review at your podcast app of choice. And I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Rodney Ronk, who left a review on Apple Podcasts. He said, "The podcast is a good listen, and I like that Mike gives you lots of useful information on how to make money selling but still collect at the same time. He doesn't seem motivated by the next big thing and is more focused on how you can make your collection self-sustaining financially for the long term, which is refreshing compared to some of the other podcasts out there." Thanks, Rodney. I appreciate that, and I'd love to hear what you think about the show. Leave me a rating and review. It really helps other people find the show. I appreciate it. And that's what I have for you today. It's a little bit of a shorter episode compared to the last couple we've had, but hopefully it's something that you'll find helpful. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time.